Alright, you can see how I got the VHB tape on the bracket, nice and even. Take your time and really press it in, really push that VHB tape down. You want the pressure. Pressure activates this type of tape, the foam tape, and you want it really pushed down. No air bubbles. Like I said, anything you do to compromise the adhesion makes it hold that much less. So take your time, do it right. Now we'll peel off the VHB tape and we'll stick it right down on my marks. Perfect. I mean, already, I can't lift this. I wouldn't be able to lift this if I tried without ripping up probably half the aluminum roof. All right, both brackets are on. They are ridiculously tight. You know, I cleaned it real well with the alcohol, made sure it was pushed in and pressure, and you know, every square inch of that tape has had pressure on it to get it to adhere. All right, so there you have it, guys. That's 2 brackets down. That's 1 mounting for the panel. I'm not going to put the panel on it right now because I need to be able to walk around it, and it'll make it easier to do the other side over here, which I'm going to do now. All right, guys. The panels are in. I don't have the brackets fully mounted. I only have 2 screws in each, so they tilt very easily. I'll show you. Okay, that's what they look like. The reason I did that is because I still have to get under there and do some more with the, not the Dicor, the ProFlex RV sealant. I'm going to go around the brackets with those, just as an added adhesive. I put the cardboard on and taped it on so that I'm not generating power while I'm working. I am running 24-volt system up here. 2 panels over here, 12 and 12 is 24, running in series. These 2 here are also running in series. So what I did is I connected the positive and negative together on the panels. Then the 2 that are left, 1 from each panel, a positive and a negative, going into these solar extensions, or red and black. These are 20 footers because I'm going to run it through. I'm going to cut these red and black extension cables here and connect them into this array here. Then I'll put the ends on it and run them over to the box that's going to be right here. So right where these cables are now is where I'm going to mount a junction box and then drill a hole through the roof. So I'll start in the cabinet downstairs, in the back bedroom there where I have all my charge controller and all my electronics. I'll start by drilling probably a 3-inch hole through the insulation and the foam of the ceiling. Do it very slowly, and then that'll let me see if there's any wires in the way or anything like that. But the actual penetration through the roof will be about 1 inch to 1.5 inches. So let's work on that now. That'll be the next step. These wires will have to wait until I get the box in. All right, let's head on down. I tell you, this lift is a lifesaver. I know I've said that before, but... All right, guys, the RV, let me turn some lights on here, is a complete mess. I'm just got everything going nuts here. All right, guys, here is the hole saw that I'm going to use to go all the way up through the roof. Like I said, I've drilled a bigger hole first to check to see if there's any electrical or anything up there that I got to be worried about, like even a frame rail. I don't want to be drilling and hit, you know, a stud and have to drill a second hole. So I'll go nice and slow from the inside out. All right, guys, here it is. Here's the command center. It's a work in progress. You'll see there the Wi-Fi Ranger, that white box with the blinking green light. Next to that, in the upper right hand corner, you'll see a little silver box. That is a 12 to 24 volt converter. That converts the 12 volt current to 24. I find that the Wi-Fi Ranger operates much better using 24 volts than 12. The Blue Sea Command Center fuse center here, distribution. You see I'm only using the 2 circuits right now. What that does, what's good about this system here is it includes a grounding block. It's not just a positive. It's very important, you know, when you're running individual circuits locally. I don't have to worry about trying to find a ground or trying to get to the chassis or something like that. I'm using the ground right off of the charge controller. Now, this little distribution box is wired directly to the output of the charge controller. Some people don't recommend doing that. Actually, I find it to be beneficial. I have a switch on the charge controller that will turn everything on and off if I need to. I also have a 40 amp inline breaker right here on the top. You'll see that 40 amp inline breaker. That is also a great disconnect. I push the button, it disconnects the whole system. Now that's just on the output side of the charge controller. On the input side, these black cables down at the bottom, they go down to the battery system right here. And those are fused with a 100 amp ANL fuse down at the batteries. So the project for today, you'll see in the upper ceiling here, I drilled a 2.5 inch hole. Now I'm going to go with a smaller 1.25 inch. I think it's 1.25 inch. Yep, 1.25 inch hole all the way up through the roof. Okay, now the reason why I did the bigger hole first, so that I could stick my hand in there and feel that there's no wires or anything else getting in the way. So now I'll slowly go in and you know, keep checking, making sure I'm not hitting anything vital. But let's drill. All right, I can actually see daylight. So I know the first part of the drill, just the drill bit itself, went through the hole. Now we'll go up top and we'll go from the bottom down and make a nice clean hole. All right, you see my shadow. Sorry about that, but there's nothing I can do about it. See a perfect little hole right there. Okay, that's from the tip of the hole saw, and I stopped as soon as it went through. That's going to be my guide hole to make sure I make a nice clean hole. I'll stick it right in like that, and now I'll make my hole. You know something? If done right, you don't need to fear making a hole in the rig. I mean, not for nothing, there's a whole lot of holes already up here. But if you seal it correctly and you take your time and do it right, you should be fine. And there you have it, a nice 1.25 inch hole. I can run all my wires through. I'm going to make a little access panel right here. So any upgrades later on going forward, I can always just come through the same hole. I found this to be easier, or I just didn't like the idea of drilling a small hole and just sticking wires through it. I wanted to put some sort of junction box. Alright, I chose a waterproof box, an exterior waterproof box. It's a little different than the regular gray plastic boxes for moist environments. They actually have to be external. They have to have a sunlight inhibitor, a UV protectant, I guess. At least that's what I was told. So that's why I chose this box. Also, any of my holes on the sides, I can put plugs in. There's no hole there now. You have to punch out the ones you want. But if I decide I want to remove a wire, I can always put a plug in and plug up the hole that I punched. So that's where I'm planning on putting the box. The other thing I plan on doing is screwing the box in from the inside after I set it into a bed of Dicor, rather than the outside. Then I don't have to really worry about the screws being exposed to the elements, rusting, things like that. So let's drill the hole and mount this box. Alright, so I drilled a nice matching hole right there, and that's what we're looking at. Actually, it'll go like this. Just like that. So now I guess it's just a matter of setting down a bed of Dicor, setting this in and screwing it down, and then I can start running the wires through. Right, even though I'm going to tape the hole, I'm still going to file it down, make sure there's no sharp edges. So now that we're all filed and good, we're going to clean the whole area with the alcohol and then set the box right in a bed of non-sag Dicor. Alright, so you want to put a good amount of Dicor. You know, bring a circle all the way around a couple times. You can always wipe off the excess. That's the trick. We want to make sure, we want to make sure we have a good seal. I also cleaned the back of the box, and now we'll set it down in the Dicor. That looks excellent. Now I'll screw it right down into the roof using self-tapping screws right from the inside four corners. Okay, there you have it. Nice, tight. 4 screws in each 4 corners. I probably could have gone away with 2, but I wanted it to suck down to the roof evenly. I wanted it to push down evenly. I wanted to see an even ooze of Dicor going all the way around. So having 4, 1 in each corner, keeps it from lifting, and allowing moisture or water to get underneath. Now we'll go around the whole edge with Dicor and run our wires through. Alright, got a good amount of Dicor all the way around of the non-sag Dicor. It's different than the self-leveling Dicor. This is a non-sag, it won't run and drip off. So I know it's sitting in a bed of non-sag. When I go to do the rest of the brackets with the self-leveling, I'll do a nice little bead all the way around it with the self-leveling, and that'll clean that all up. And we're good to go. But nothing stopping me now from running the wires. Alright guys, getting a little windy. Hopefully the wind noise ain't too much, but we have a functioning solar setup now. Everything works. Pulling in about 33, 34 volts. But the sun is a little low in the sky and we got some clouds, but definitely can test it that it is functioning. My batteries are fully charged anyway, so I'm not going to be able to see much. You can see here how I ran the wires through the junction box. I put some Eternabond tape all the way around, as well as, there was no sharp edges, but I figured added protection. The Eternabond tape is very durable. That'll give me some abrasion resistance from the wires going in. Now I will be filling this hole with the Geoflex. I'll show you that tube here. It's GeoCell ProFlex. Flexible sealant. It's got an adhesion. This is what I'm going to use for sealing off the wires going into the box. Like I said, if I ever decide I want to add another wire I'll be able to. Now, I'm not going to fill this up now on this video and seal it because I have to punch out the back yet and run the cell phone booster to the ladder. And that's going to be a different video. And I figure if I open up the tube, I'm going to seal everything. I'm going to do the beads around the brackets for the solar panels, as well as the wires and the cell phone booster antenna. So I will show that in the next video where I actually install the cell phone, the WeBoost OTR cell phone data booster. So that's that, guys. I was going to take the 6-inch Eternabond and go over the wires, but now I think I'm just going to cut a couple little strips, secure the wires, and then I'm going to order a roll of 2-inch Eternabond to cover all the wires. I'm just not liking the idea of sacrificing the 6-inch to cut it in this length to secure the wires. So that's what I'm going to do there. Again, that'll be in a future video only because I don't have that 2-inch Eternabond with me. I have to order it. But here's the box, like I showed you before, the gasket. This will go on top. We'll seal that. And then I'm also going to paint that white just to protect it a little more from the ultraviolet rays. You know, it will be in the sun all the time. And the sun can do some major damage to plastic, especially this ABS stuff. I've had some of that stuff crack before, and I would rather not have that happen. So there you have it, guys. Let's go downstairs, see the charge controller, how it's all wired, and the finishing touches as far as, you know, what voltages we're reading. And all right, guys, there you have it. 32.8 volts right now at 2.7 amps. The MPPT converts that down to 6.4 amps. It takes advantage of the extra voltage, converts it back to amperage, making it much more efficient. Let's keep that light on. Now, batteries are pretty much fully charged, so it doesn't look like there's much coming in. Also, it is the end of the day, and there's clouds, you know, a little bit of puffy clouds going by, so not a lot of sunshine. But 32.7 volts, I know it's ready to roll. Now we'll start buttoning everything up. It has been extremely hot, and I am in desperate need of something cold to drink and a shower. All right, guys. Now, inside here, you see where the wires came in. I have a little bit extra here because I want to add a switch for the solar panels and a fuse themselves. Probably do another breaker like the one you see there. I have a 30 amp one I think will be fine, but I'm not sure, so I'll have to set it up and try it out. If not, I'll do another 40 or 60 amp. No, probably the 30 amp will probably be fine. I mean, we're not going to get 30 amps coming through because we're coming in at, you know, in a 24 volt system. So the amperage is going to be much less. So the 30 amp switch will be fine. And I'll be adding that in a future video. All right, guys. BlackTop Boondocker, thanks for watching. And I'll talk to you soon. All right, guys. Take care.